Hello, this is Evans Armantrading from Fit. I'm the CEO and founder, and today we sitting and talking with Jarrhin a little bit about metabolic damage and what happens with chronic dieting, and we'll get into a lot of that today. So before we do get started, I do want to introduce Jarrhin and have him tell you a little bit about himself and who he is, and then we'll kind of go into things from there.
Hello everyone, I am Jarrhin Thomas. I am one of the fitness professionals here at Fit. Just a little bit about my background. I have a bachelor's in exercise science from Wesley College. I have a master's in applied health physiology with a concentration in strength and conditioning from Salisbury University. And I am an NCSF certified personal trainer.
And he's also a professor at Wesley, as well. So he does a lot, but very, very qualified to have this conversation today. And today I want to talk a little bit about what's happening, what many people do in the fitness world or maybe in the non-fitness world that are looking to become fit, and why they struggle. So we're now into March, and a lot of people, how's the attendance at the Y? Is it the same, gone down?
It's actually increased a little bit.
Okay, cool. And I spoke to another gentleman, one of our clients here. He actually works at Club Fitness, and he says, hey man, this is kind of cool. The people are maintaining their commitment better than the years before. The question is, what are they doing?
Well, they're doing a lot of cardio, to say the least, because a lot of times they are more uncomfortable with the free weight area, or they don't really know how to use the machines, and a lot of times people are embarrassed to ask for help. So naturally they gravitate towards the cardio equipment, and then they stay there until they realize that they indeed do need to ask for help.
Absolutely. And we work with several physicians, and one of them always reminds me of the stats, and he says that about 67% of Americans right now are actively trying to lose weight, whether it's going for that walk, doing the machines, changing their eating habits. A lot of people are trying to lose weight, so it's not uncommon that happens. But what we're beginning to see is that a lot of people have something called metabolic damage, where their metabolism has taken a hit through chronic dieting or through doing crazy fad diets or all kinds of things like that. So when it comes to nutritionally, I know you probably get into the conversation with people often about what they're eating, and what do you see people doing today to kind of become healthy or to lose that weight?
Well, a lot of times people tell me, they're cutting out certain areas or cutting out certain foods, and as we get deeper into the conversation, a lot of times they're really cutting out an entire macronutrient. So sometimes they may cut out all of their protein, and there's a lot of misconception about what a protein is, but we won't really get into that. But a lot of times they cut out all of their carbohydrates, or they'll cut out a lot of fat, but there's just a lot of cutting, which is just helping or really creating that calorie deficit that they want, but not really in the best way.
Now, you said that, people are cutting their carbs, their fats, their proteins. Hopefully they're not cutting all of those at one time, because if you do, there's nothing to eat, But each of those different categories have very, very important reasons why they're in your diet and needs for your body, whether it's to rebuild and repair cells, or to provide energy and nutrients for your brain and your muscles, or to allow your body to absorb nutrient better and create great hormonal production. You need your protein, carbs, and fat. So eliminating those is probably not the best technique when it comes to that. Now, I get this question asked all the time. So I know you probably experience it as well, which is like, how many calories should I be eating? You get that, it's like, I want to lose weight, I've taken out all the sugars, and all the fats and all the proteins, so how much should I be eating now? And how much should somebody be eating?
Honestly, it's not as simple as it sounds. It's just one of those questions that you really have to do some work in order to figure out, or even come close to figuring out, how much someone should be eating. So everyone has a different amount they should be eating. So there's really no right answer, no one answer that fits everyone. We do some work to find out what your lean mass is, what your body composition is, and then we use some technology and some physicians that we're partnered with, and we take it from there, but there's really no right or wrong answer as far as for, let's just say myself and Evans, we're the same height, so we should be consuming the same amount of calories. Or, let's just say we were the same height and weight, so we should consume the same amount of calories. There's activity levels, there's height, weight, there's a lot of different things that goes into it. So it's really hard to say, you should be eating this amount of calories or you should be eating that amount of calories.
Gotcha. So, still didn't tell us how many calories you're supposed to eat, right? Yeah. But his answer is absolutely right. There is no set number. And if you've ever used a fitness app or whatever, all it asks for is your height and your weight, your gender, and it spits out a number. But the reality is that there's a lot more to it than that to determine exactly what you should be eating, which is really important. But when it comes to weight loss, many times that's what we do. We find some sort of tool that'll tell us the amount of calories that we need to eat, and then we drop it. And that's what we're going to talk about a little bit as well. What happens when we drop these calories will create something called a calorie deficit, meaning I either eat less or I exercise more. And for many of us, we do a little bit of both. You know what I mean? It's like if eating less, can do it, maybe I can exercise more. And I don't know how many times I see people, I don't even say anything and people feel guilty when they eat bad around me or eat junk food. I wouldn't even say bad, just unhealthy foods. And they tell me, oh, it's okay because I'm going to work out a little bit later. We know you can't work it off. It's a myth. That doesn't work. But, this caloric deficit, what does that do to you? If I drop my calories, is that just good? I figured out how much I need to eat through your calculations, and if I just eat less, am I good, or exercise more?
I mean, initially you'll lose a little bit of weight, but think about it this way: if you have less money in your paycheck, you spend less. So if your body has less calories to work with, it does less work, and it'll preserve as much energy as possible. So initially, like I said, you will lose a little bit, but in the long run, you'll feel the effects of it.
Now when you said preserve as much energy as possible, that's not good. That energy, your body only saves energy in your liver and your muscles, but that's only enough for a day. So all the other preserving that gets done is called fat cells. So dropping your calories, you're telling me, causes me to hold or grow the fat cells I have.
Absolutely.
So eating less will make me fatter.
Absolutely, it can.
Wow. And that's, a part of the challenge today. Your brain has a guy in there called a hypothalamus. Don't have a lot of time to get into that today, but we'll talk about that on another one. And then he controls all systems in your body, and one is your metabolism, which is ran by your thyroid. You hear a lot of things about thyroid today. You can probably Google, how many people have thyroid issues. I think it's over 40% of us in America have a thyroid challenge. So there's a lot of people. And your thyroid regulates how many calories you burn. So like Jarrhin said, if I eat less and exercise more and I have this constant deficiency, then it's going to slow down how many calories I burn every day. And if I ever stop eating less and exercising more, then I stop losing the weight, and it kind of adjusts to whatever activity I'm doing on a regular basis as well. So that's bad news.
Oh yeah, all day, every day. That's bad news. So, Evans, we talked a lot about what the problem is. So how do we fix it?
Okay. And that's huge. This bad news, that's what we call metabolic damage. If you've done any dieting for a period of time, at some point you can't lose the weight anymore, and then you can't. Then you start regaining the weight. Because your metabolism slow down, and it's very hard to maintain 2 hours of training on a consistent basis. Not optimal either, but it's very hard to do that. So how do you fix it? I guess the first thing you do is figure out exactly what should you be eating. Not just, calorie-wise through the crazy math, but then also figure out what combinations of protein, carbs, and fat you need for your body. And no one can just tell you that off the top, and that's why we use like our metabolic coaching program and other things that can help clients kind of figure out that component. And then it's upping your calories, eating more. So if you're eating 2,000 calories, but you think your body, based on all your measurements, you should be eating 2,500 to 3,000, you're in like starvation mode at 2,000 calories, which is not optimal. So it's figuring out where you need to be and increasing your food progressively to get you into that range. And by doing that, you'll speed up your metabolism, you lose fat, and you have a ton more energy. Well, our time is up, but man, we could talk about this topic for like, instead of 10 minutes, 10 hours. It's something that we're very passionate about. We see it a lot. And, when clients typically start with us, they go, oh my God, I don't believe it's so much food that's being recommended in order to get their metabolism up. But then when they get back and do their measurements a couple of weeks later, they're shocked that eating so much food can cause fat loss. So we're excited to share more with you. Look forward to talking to you soon, and have a wonderful day.